All right. We've all done this at some point in our life. You wake up, you're 30 minutes late for wherever you have to be. You know you set your alarm, but somehow, sometime, you hit that button and your alarm shut off. If that's ever happened to you and you want to find out why that occurs, stay tuned to MysterE's Mysteries. I am Mr. E, and we are going to explore all things mysterious in the world of psychology. You have probably experienced this before where you shut off your alarm. You have no recollection of when or if or how you shut it off, but it happened and you're late, right? It's actually a really common occurrence. You're not broken. Your alarm clock's not broken. What ultimately happened is you probably didn't get enough sleep the night before. And you were in one of the states of sleep where your body can move around, but your mind is kind of shut down. What we're going to do today is we're going to go through the sleep cycle and we're going to answer that question and many, many more. So we actually have 4 stages of sleep that we go through on any given night. Those stages are stage 1, which is alpha waves, where we're awake, we're relaxed, we're hanging out in bed. There's stage 2, that's going to be when we fall asleep. There's stage 3, which is in deep sleep. And then there's REM sleep, which is rapid eye movement. That's going to be the stage when we are actually dreaming, right? So as we go through these stages, we start out stage 1, stage 2, we fall asleep. Then we get into deep sleep, stage 3, which is fantastic, right? That is actually going to be when our brain is kind of shut down. The only thing our brain is going to do is it's going to keep us alive, right? But our body is actually pretty active. So it is during deep sleep where we can actually sleepwalk. And that's why people who sleepwalk don't remember doing it, because they're in this deep sleep and their brain is pretty much shut off. And you might ask the question, well, how can you walk if your brain is pretty much shut off? Well, walking doesn't take a whole lot of brain power for most of us, at least, where we can walk without thinking about it. And so during this deep sleep, that's going to be when we like toss and turn and when we can sleepwalk, that sort of stuff. But our brain is really kind of, shut down. So what we do is we go 1, 2, 3. Stage 3, deep sleep. We're in deep sleep. Then we go back to stage 2, which is just kind of a lighter sleep. And then we go into what is called REM sleep, which is rapid eye movement. And rapid eye movement sleep, that's going to be actually, and you probably heard this phrase before, but REM paralysis, where our body is actually completely paralyzed. And our brain is incredibly active. And it's one of the reasons why REM sleep is called paradoxical sleep, because our body is paralyzed, but our brain is really active, and our brain is active creating all of these sorts of dreams, that sort of stuff, right? But we are paralyzed, okay, which is a pretty funky feeling. If you've ever woken up from a dream and you feel like you can't move your body, that's leftover REM paralysis. So we go through this cycle. This cycle lasts about 90 minutes, 60 to 90 minutes, depending. We go through the cycle 4 to 6 times throughout the night, depending on how long we sleep. Now, to get back to us that have ever shut off our alarm, what happens if we've ever gone to bed a little too late, or we really are desperate for sleep? What occurs is, as we get closer to wakefulness, we actually spend more time in REM sleep, which makes sense because when we wake up, we want our brains to be really active right away. Okay, that's kind of the key, and that's an evolutionary function that helps us to stay alive. So if we wake up, we're ready, right? We're ready to fight off the saber-toothed tigers, okay? Whatever the case may be, okay? Now, once again, if we don't get enough sleep, throughout the night, we're supposed to spend more and more time in REM sleep. But if we haven't gotten enough sleep and our alarm goes off, we might be in deep sleep. And if we're in deep sleep, that means we're in deep trouble, because our brain is not active, but our body is. So our brain isn't active. We don't remember doing it, but our body is conditioned to hit snooze, right? Or shut off the alarm. And so we just automatically shut off our alarm. And the next thing you know, we're late for that appointment. We're late for whatever it is that we need to do, which, that kind of sucks, right? So when we go through that, that's kind of how we end up struggling to wake up. Now, you also may have, many people experience this where you think a nap is it's supposed to make you feel so much better, right? I'm so tired. You take a nap, but when you wake up, you feel like crap. Why do you feel like crap when you wake up? It's probably because you never got into REM sleep. You're in that deep sleep and your brain is totally foggy and you feel like junk. So that's why oftentimes we don't feel good with naps. Okay. Now, there are other times where you might feel like you dreamt all night, or you take a nap and you dream during that nap. And you might wonder, well, with the sleep cycle, shouldn't I have just been in deep sleep? Well, we do experience something called REM rebound. We experience REM rebound when we don't get enough sleep a few nights in a row. And when we don't get enough sleep a few nights in a row, the type of sleep that is sacrificed the most is REM, because that, again, we spend more and more time in REM the longer we're asleep. So if we're not getting enough sleep, we're not getting enough REM. So what our brain and our body does is it pops us into REM sleep a lot earlier. And so then what we experience is REM rebound. And that's when we have that dreaming all night long. And we're like, oh my God, I dreamt all night. Well, that was probably because you didn't have enough REM sleep a few nights earlier, that's the best sleep. When you wake up from dreaming all night and you may feel really rested and rejuvenated, it's good that you wake up because your brain is nice and refreshed. But the other piece that is so key to a lot of REM sleep is it is the only time in our lives where our body is completely at rest. Even if we are just sitting around, our body is tense. You can feel it right now. Your toes might be crinkled. Your hands might be clenched. Your brow might be furrowed, whatever that means. But our body is never truly at rest except during REM sleep. So it's absolutely key that we experience that. Okay. So what happens then if we are not getting enough sleep? All right. REM rebound just isn't enough. And there is the concept or the idea that we say, I need to catch up on sleep this weekend. We really truly can't do that. Yes, we can catch up on some REM sleep, but we need a steady amount of sleep as much as we can. And what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to shift from the theories of sleep and the cycles. I'm going to shift to what sleep deprivation does to us. It does more to us than just have us shut off our alarm in the morning. It does a lot more to us than that. There's a lot of things that occur during a night's sleep that is vital. So we'll just kind of go through these, and it is so important. So number one, while we're asleep, we release PGH, which is pituitary growth hormone. Pituitary growth hormone helps us to grow and it helps us to heal. If we don't get enough sleep, we're not getting enough healing. If you are a football coach or a football player, any sort of sports, and you wake up at 5 a.m. to work out, if you're not getting enough sleep, you are actually not getting as much out of that workout as you could, because you're not allowing your muscles to heal and to grow properly. That's number one. Number two, we consolidate memories at night. That's actually one of the important processes of dreaming, is to allow us to consolidate our memories. So whatever we're studying or learning the day before, the night before, during sleep, that's when those memories get consolidated. If we're not getting enough sleep, those memories are not getting consolidated. Okay, so that's number two. Number three, immune response. If we don't get enough sleep, we are going to have a heightened immune response until our immune system can't respond anymore and we go into an exhaustion stage. And when we go into that exhaustion stage, that's when those little viruses and bacteria can get us. So our immune response decreases with sleep deprivation. Next, we have a lack of concentration. And this is one that most people will recognize and they'll understand, that we will get in more accidents because we don't have that level of concentration and focus because of that lack of sleep. And that's actually a really interesting point. If you know about semi-truck drivers, it's actually again, this is why psychology is so awesome. Studies were done on sleep deprivation and truck drivers. And so they have shifted where they could drive 12 hours at a time. Now what I believe it is down to 8 hours. It's 8 hours on, 4 hours off, where truck drivers have to rest for at least 4 hours. If I'm wrong with that, because I just threw this out there, somebody make sure that you respond in the comments and let me know if I'm wrong. But I do believe it's now 8 hours on, 4 hours off. And then the last piece is anxiety and depression. Anxiety and depression, those scores escalate the less sleep that we get. And that's really, really incredibly unhealthy. So when we talk about our future, our young adults that are teenagers right now, you can say whatever the heck you want about nutrition. You can say whatever you want about education, about lifting weights, about exercise, all of those things. If we are not getting a proper amount of sleep, those things don't matter. In fact, many people believe right now that our teenagers, we're experiencing an existential crisis right now, where the number one it's not drugs, it's sleep. Drugs affect people that take drugs, but sleep affects everybody. And we have shifted to, and we've done this as an entire culture where it's almost like some sort of rite of passage. Yeah, I only got 3 or 4 hours of sleep last night. Oh, I got 5 hours of sleep last night. I had to get up at 4:30 in the morning to do this and this and this and this. I stayed up until midnight because I had to do this and this and this. And it's like we're proud of it. And it's like this is a national crisis where this sleep deprivation, it is going to catch us. It is going to get us, and it is going to hit us bad. A lot of people will cry and moan about California because California is this ultra liberal state, all that sort of stuff. And you can have whatever views you want about California, but they are the first state in the nation that has demanded that no school starts until 8:30 in the morning, which is actually, and you might say something, well, let's just have our kids go to bed earlier. Well, there's this thing called melatonin that drives our sleep cycle. And for teenagers, melatonin drives them to stay up later and later at night. So they are in tune. Their body is in tune to stay up until about 11 or 11:30 at night, naturally. But many schools are making them get up at 7 or 7:30 in the morning. That's why California, through the world of psychology, has discovered that 8:30 is the perfect time to start school, because at about 7:45 or 8 o'clock, melatonin is starting to leave your system and you're starting to just naturally wake up, which is like just an absolute perfect sort of situation. Whatever you want to say about California, that's one thing that they've actually absolutely have done correctly. And my neighbor to my west, Minnesota, has also implemented, many schools have implemented this 8:30 start time. And if you look at everything from their productivity, their anxiety scores, their test scores, their illnesses, their missed school, their accidents, all of those things have improved drastically over the last, in fact, they've been doing it for almost 30 years, has improved drastically over the last 30 years because of this later school start time. So as we move forward, it is important to remember that sleep is more important to us than virtually any aspect of our life. So make sure that we're not sleep deprived, and make sure that we are taking care of our bodies and our minds. So I am MysterE. This is Mysteries Mysteries. I appreciate you for joining us today. I hope you learned a little bit of something. I want to thank Bear Wade and Unify Agency for all the work that he does as our producer and director. I also want to let you know that, hey, make sure you give us our views, but give us those 5 stars. Help us to move up that Podchaser level, where we can get top billing. Okay, we want to keep going, and we want to keep influencing people through the world of psychology. So, hey, thank you so much for joining us. We really, really appreciate you. You have a great day. See ya.